Good morning. How are you? I hope you are well. It is Monday, and you know when it's Monday, we're here. I think it's the 24th. I'm not too sure, but 24th. And when we're here, it means it is another week, another opportunity for us to come through and serve you through our 8 a.m. Mentorship Academy call. We do these every day, Monday to Friday. It's supposed to be Monday to Friday. So Mondays is yours truly. Tuesdays, Dr. Sunshine, who comes through with her Mindset Change program. Wednesdays is open market. Last week was quite exciting. We had Sampa, who was doing her thing. It was very nice, Salome. And then Thursday, we have Dr. Nelly Kangwa, who is doing her thing with Prosperity for the Soul. And then Friday is being negotiated. So very soon it'll be taken up and will become what we call the healthy tips, but specifically from a particular company. They're coming in and becoming a cooperating partner with us. So we are excited. And so today I'm here and we are picking it up and continue my series on developing a strong brand. And for those of you that are in this space, I also run a class. Let me see if I can get my banner up. So in case you are interested, we have the Neuro Leadership class running, and today is episode 5, I believe, or lesson 5 of the 12 or so lessons that we're doing in that space. Very, very exciting in the evening. So be there. Hey, Anne, good to see you. Saw your lovely pictures in the US. I was like, wow, yeah. And your award, congratulations for that, Anne. And it's always good to have you on the call from time to time. I see somebody trying to join. Sampa, good to have you on the call this morning as well. And glad to know that you're joining us as a powerful mompreneur. So thank you, Sampa, for being part of our call today. We really appreciated your call on Wednesday last week. That was very nice with what's her name. The name is gone, but she did a brilliant presentation around how she's managing and navigating that space she's in. So today, we pick it up. I want to really run with the series, Developing a Strong Brand. Last week, in case you were there, we went through the 5 laws of performance. Work that is monitored improves. Oh my goodness, where's my presentation? It's literally just disappeared. Can you believe that? I tell you, the struggle is real. Give me, guys, a chance to just get my presentation back up. Unbelievable. I was just tapping on that just to see what's going on, and then it just disappeared. So I was looking at three. If then if that work is then also reviewed, it improves substantially.
Rev, is it me or you are the one who is disappearing? Okay, Rev was speaking about work that, as we brand ourselves, work that is monitored, work that is shown, work that is rewarded, and work that is improves. So I think that is where we were, and I think it's back now.
Yeah, okay. I've had to change the network. Thank you, Auntie Sylvia. I don't trust this network at all, but anyway, let's see what it does. I hope the other one will pick up. Let me do a restart on the other one whilst we're working on this. So, meantime, those are the 5 laws of performance we're just looking at. And then last Monday, I did the first, which was self-reflection, that basically looked at understanding your values, strengths, passions, and skills, and then identifying your unique selling points and what sets you apart from others. So today, we are going deeper into that, and we're looking at the whole concept of defining your purpose. Defining your purpose. Now, if you've been following our series, you know we're big on purpose in this platform. About purpose and why you need to understand the reason you exist. In fact, purpose is, for lack of a better word, the very definition of who you are and what you're here for. So if you do not understand the reason that you're on this earth, the reason that you exist, you will have a tough time knowing what to do. I believe it's Dr. Miles Monroe who said, where purpose is unknown, abuse is inevitable. And for many, many people, I can tell you this with absolute certainty, that many have failed to really excel in their area because they don't know their purpose. Remember, where you do not know purpose, abuse is inevitable, and abuse means you are not using that item for the purpose for which it was created. I mean, for example, take this. This is a bottle. I'm not putting the brand there, so it's a bottle and it contains petroleum jelly. Okay, awesome stuff. This bottle was designed to host substances like the petroleum jelly. Now, I could use this as a paperweight, okay, and it'll do a job. It'll even function quite well, but that's not what it was created for. So it'll never operate at full capacity. In short, it's being abused. I mean, that's amazing. And so you need to understand your purpose. And that's why we go through a course here on Unleashing Your Destiny, Code Unleashing. The whole idea behind that course is to help you understand and harness the reason for which you were created. One of my favorite aspects of this whole thing about purpose is that it is purpose that births passion, and it is passion that manifests destiny. In that order. So you could have a mission, but if you do not understand or are not part of that purpose, you were not created for that thing, you will never manifest it fully. And so you will operate, yes, you could even be quite good at what you do, but you will never derive true satisfaction and happiness. You will operate, but not at full capacity. Imagine it's like being a 260 kilometer per hour Mercedes-Benz, powerful 2023 model, but then in the farming block. You are out there on the farm, and then you've got this Mercedes hooked to a plow. You see, it's just not gonna perform. It could perform, but it will never manifest its truth. In fact, it will be damaged because it was not designed. It does not have the purpose of being a farming vehicle. It's not a farming vehicle. It's the same thing as taking a tractor and trying to race it down the highway. It's never going to perform at high speed because it's not designed to drive fast. It's designed to tug and pull heavy farming equipment in the farms. So that, my friends, is the challenge a lot of people face. So if you do not know your purpose, my friend, you cannot really excel. You could try, but you'll not really excel. Excellence is what happens because you have a habit. Habit because you are manifesting purpose through passion. Passion is the fuel that drives purpose into its full manifestation. But that will not happen if you do not truly understand the reason for which you are there. So the purpose is critical. So meaning, clearly define your personal and professional goals. So now, if we understand our purpose, then it becomes possible to start putting in our personal and professional goals. You will be able to sit down and say, now I know why. You know, one of my favorite statements made by Jesus, when he's asked by, I don't know if it's Pontius Pilate or he's asked by the disciples, I can't remember, but this is when he's just about to die. You know, he is asked and he makes a profound statement. He says, it is for this very hour that I came on the earth. So Jesus had a full understanding of why he exists. Now, give me a moment as I try to reconnect the other. So sorry about this. Let me just try and reconnect the other internet, which is like far better. Just a minute. Let's see if it'll work. Alrighty, I hope it'll behave. Oh, Okay, so I think we've changed networks. I just hope it'll behave. Behaving. Oh, there it is. Okay. So if it cuts, then I'll go back the other side. Sorry, I've gone back to the other network because the other one is not so good. So anyway, like I was saying, so this thing about purpose is so critical, because if you do not understand, then you'll have a problem. So remember that the goals that you set, the goals that are part of your manifested vision are going to come out of purpose. So remember, your mission is purpose, service, work. And when you look at the purpose, reason for existing, service, what you are called to do, the thing you do to manifest your purpose, and then work, how you do it. So when you look at these three, you will realize that these three will drive you to manifest or to project a vision. Now, the vision is a picture of what you will become. All right. So whatever your purpose is, when you're fully manifest, that's your vision. Now, your vision is like this long-term, almost lifetime type of end. Now, that's very far away. So you need to break that down into manageable bites, and that's where the goals come in. So your goals have to be well defined, and that's why in branding or in brand management, the personal or professional goals must be well understood. What is it that you want to manifest? How will you go about achieving this manifestation? So branding is very, very critical, and the goals become everything. And further to the goals, you must define or determine the impact you want to make in your industry or community. The impact you want to make. What is the end game? One of the biggest challenges with a lot of people is end game is money. And I'm here to tell you that if your end game is money, then you will never really make a great impact, for the simple reason that money is not an end. Money is a manifestation or compensation for the end. So meaning, as you go about manifesting your purpose, if you have positioned yourself correctly, have locked in all the factors well, the money will show up. Why? Because money is compensation for value given. So which means when it comes to you and me in the marketplace, it's about the value we bring. Now, there's something I said the other day, and I know people didn't get it, and I got the usual religious backlash, understandable. But I say that all relationships are transactional. Absolutely. I'm going to say that clearly. All relationships are transactional. Let me break that down for you. What does that mean? That means when you exist on this planet, when you exist on this earth, every relationship you have, whether it's with your parents, your siblings, your community, and that community is, varies. You've got the church spiritual community. You've also got the, career societal community. All right. And if you have to really go far, you can even go into just plain society, whatever it is. All these, then you've got your friendships, your social circles, all these circles. The level of value that you bring determines the estimation you'll be given. The estimation, esteem. So the estimation you'll be given in those circles, whichever they are, is going to be directly proportional to the perceived value you are taking there. And remember, value is perceived. It is intrinsic in that, yes, you carry it, but it means nothing if no one perceives it. That's why branding is so important. That's why Dr. Phil will charge more money per presentation than a clinical psychiatrist in some hospital in the USA. They're not going to be charging the same. The one will be paid an obscene amount of money. The other will be just given government rates. So why? Answer: because Dr. Phil is perceived to be of a greater value. Why? Because he's got a brand. He's branded himself well, and he's addressed large audiences. And let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. The large audiences are a critical factor to determine perceived value. So one thing I learned many years ago is individuals that seem to address large audiences are perceived as experts. This is the reason why social media has influencers, those so-called influencers. Many of them know Jacko. They're not even experts at what they do. But because they have large audiences, they are perceived as experts. And based on that alone, they are perceived valuable. And based on that, they are paid more. There you go. So for example, my sister Mutale Mwanza, or let me think of another personality out there, or Simon Mwalane. I think Simon Mwalane, in my opinion, I think brings even more value. But anyway, Mutale Mwanza addresses very large audiences. So based on that alone, it doesn't even matter what she carries. The fact that she addresses these large audiences will mean that people will pay her to get on a platform. Wizu Kanji is another one. She addresses large audiences. So based on that alone, numbers will go to her and pay her money to, you know, endorse them. So that's the power of addressing audiences. So Wizu Kanji and what's her name, Mutale Mwanza, are very well positioned when it comes to their brands and their brand power. I mean, if you ask me, for example, Mzinga Mmelu, the MD, the CEO of ABSA, carries, this is just me, this is my view. I'm not saying that I'm in full respect to the other individuals I mentioned, but Mzinga Mmelu carries far more powerful value because of who she is and what she has achieved in the real world. So when you look at Mzinga Mmelu, what's her call to fame? What's her call to being successful and famous and well branded? Well, she is CEO of one of the largest banks in the country. So that alone means she carries a very powerful amount of substance by comparison. If you look at Mwenda, what's her name? This Chibesakunda. If you look at her, she's another very powerful, well-branded individual, but she carries substance. She is CEO of the largest bank. I think that's the largest bank in the country. So when you look at these two women, I think they carry tons of value. And if you compare them to Mwizu Kanji and what's her name, Mutale Mwanza, I am in no way belittling those two ladies. I think they're doing a great job, but I just don't think substantially. If you take Mutale Mwanza or you take Mwizu Kanji, put them on a platform in front and tell them to give you some presentation, I think they're going to struggle. Why? Because their type of content isn't academic or even, how can I put it? So they're not motivation speakers. So they won't even give you substance purely on the power of personal development. But they are what I call famous for being famous. So when you're famous for being famous, you address audiences. When you address audiences, if you're smart, if you're business astute, which both are, so Mwizu Kanji and Mutale Mwanza, I will not take it away from them. Both are business astute. They have astuteness for business. So they've known how to take those brands, leverage their fame, and then use that to build a powerful brand, which then many are happy to associate, even when some of their content is highly questionable, even if some of their so-called moral and ethical stances are relatively, questionable, but that doesn't matter. They have learned how to leverage well. The ultimate family I know in the world that has done that to a whole other level, no one comes close, is the Kardashians. I mean, the claim to fame of Kim Kardashian was a sex tape. So this is a lady who had a sex tape, which leaked, and then the mother, who is a genius businesswoman, decided to leverage that. Okay, fine. Yeah, we have a sex tape. Oh my, that's sad. But we're going to leverage that. So she then leveraged it in order to create very powerful brand, which now they exploit to get millions and millions of dollars. They have become millionaires literally for just being famous. So all they just do is just, have a reality TV cameras following them around, and they have built perfume lines, they've built fashion lines, they have built personal development, presentations and motivations. And I mean, these guys are just brilliant. And that's the example of how you leverage addressing an audience. So when it comes to the impact, what is the impact you want to make in your industry or community? That's really it. I mean, whether the impact is going to be a sex tape and then you leverage the fame to become wealthy, or it's just being controversial for being controversial, really, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's about influence and leveraging that influence. I personally would rather obviously be famous for something more substantive than having a sex tape. But that doesn't change the fact that when you address an audience, when you determine how you want to impact the community and then you go for that, it'll work. I mean, my brother Simon Mwambazi is a vlogger, so he moves around with his camera every day, his phone, taking videos all over the place. And truth be told, his videos are very entertaining. So in that regard, he is offering value as entertainment. And then because it now has a relatively large audience, then he's able to leverage that and get advertising. And that is done very well. So he's got advertising, he's got placement ads, he's got announcements that he makes with his content. And remember, Simon Mwambazi is producing content he would have produced anyway. It's not like he woke up one day and said, let me start filming videos and then I'll make money out of it. See, that's where many get it wrong. When you're talking about branding, it's never the money that's the reason. It should always be the passion. Whatever it is you're passionate about, that's the reason. And then the money will come. I like one of my great mentors, Professor Hannington Mubaiwa, who always says, if you can define the why and the what, the how will work itself out. You just define why you're doing it, what exactly you're doing, and do these so well that you have a roadmap, and then begin to execute that roadmap. The how will literally fall in place by itself. You will not have to struggle with it. And the most exciting part is the money will follow. Why? Because money follows value. Money always flows. There's this thing they talk about, it's called osmosis, financial osmosis. Money will flow from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. In other words, it will always move out of one pocket to the other. So the question is, what kind of value is being given out by yourself and by what you do? That's extremely critical. So remember, determine the value that you intend to bring to the community and what industry you want to thrive in, and then make sure you do it effectively by first understanding your purpose and then defining your goals, professional and personal, and then being very clear about the impact you want to make. And I think for me, this is it. It's the impact you want to make. I mean, at the end of the day, if your impact is going to be around immorality, that's a whole other debate. But it means absolutely jack all when it comes to how you want to create the impact and how you're going to make it happen. The impact is impact. And you decide for yourself how you want to make that impact work. Now, let me very quickly finish up with the third one, which is to identify your target audience. Now, I'll be very quick with that and close. So how do you do that? Well, first, identify your audience you want to reach and influence. You see, a lot of people, I've heard people when they write books, they say, well, this is for everybody. No, it's not for everybody. Nothing is for everybody. It is always going to have an audience. So the faster you can define your audience and the quicker you can get to understand what that audience is in a crystal clear way, the faster you're going to progress. But the problem is that for many people, they don't do that. What they do is they want to kind of address everybody everywhere at the same time. And I'll be very honest with you, that never works. So be very clear about the audience you want to reach. Be very clear about that. And let's not have illusions of, no, I'm going to reach everybody. No, you're not going to reach everybody. Just reach the people you're called for. And that's why, so there's the time when I write in a certain way that I write, and people say, no, this English is too complicated. We can't understand. The truth is, I'm not targeting those everybody's. Thank you, Chipande, correct. I'm not targeting everybody. I'm not trying to reach the small, look, they're not even my audience. The small individuals who don't understand half of what I write on that page are more an audience for entertainers. Social media has some amazing entertainers. Like my brother Chela Tukuta, he's a very entertaining guy. So there's a whole bunch of people that follow him. And then you've got people like Seer One, whom I don't like really. But Seer One has a huge audience. So there's people that Seer One reaches and addresses. I am not interested in that audience. I'm neither interested in my brother Chela Tukuta's audience or Seer One's audience or even Mutalim Wanza's audience. Why? Because I feel the majority of those people are just different types of people. Yo Maps is an absolutely amazing gifted musician. But what kind of audience does Yo Maps address? Totally different. I've had interactions with him and gotten on social media together with him, and I've seen the kind of people he attracts. They're just different types of people. Now, the type of audiences I'd like to attract are people like Dr. Mjajati's audience. I think he's got a pretty substantive audience. Why? Because of what he does. Mizingamelo, what she does. Suilanji Siame, what he does. Dingi, dingi, dingindaba, you know, what he does. So these have got very big audiences. And when you look at the audiences they address, they're really the type of audiences I would like, because the type of people that follow those guys are interested in a certain type of layout and operation. And so when you look at what I offer, it's very similar to these guys. So I would rather cross-pollinate with people like that. Dr. Rosia Siatwambo, he's got a pretty big audience as well. Those are the type of people I would want to interact with. So why? Because the audiences they address are aligned to what I do. So that, my friends, is another issue about target audiences. So be very careful who you target. I know, and whilst on that, on social media, there's this whole thing about follow for follow, don't fall for that crap. Doesn't work. And the reason is very simple. You're not attracting your potential clients. You are just getting follows for follows. So everyone who's following for following, there's no substantive value to those people. It's like buying an audience. It's like buying an email list. It's like buying likes. They don't work. That's why I don't do it. Because you see, you find that you may have large numbers on your platform, but look at the reach you're having. One of my colleagues is in that space, the Coppola Pastor. The Coppola Pastor has about 400,000 followers. I've had the privilege, well, I study these people, so I go on their platforms and I look at the reach that they're having. And what you discover is that he has a very large audience, but he's not reaching the audience. So the answer is because he probably interacted with individuals that don't align very fully. And when I say individuals that don't align, I mean people that he interact. For example, well, recently now, I don't know, but recently the Coppola Pastor has been doing all the work with Prophet Shepherd Bushiri. Now, people love Prophet Bushiri. You know, they love him. So he's got massive numbers. Coppola Pastor is a pretty substantive guy, but he's connected to those guys. So whatever Coppola Pastor says on his platform just isn't reaching. And the answer is because probably his audience is more interested in that content that comes from Bushiri. So you've got to be very, on this online space, it's as we say in the local language, in Chinyama Chinango. So you really have to be very careful. So for example, Ambassador Chibamba Kanyama, now that's my guy. Now I love him, and I interact with him very regularly. So a number of his audience people have migrated into my audience, and he's probably, of course, gotten some. But the point is, if you look at the caliber of
Hey, Rev. Okay, he is trying to differentiate the kind of value that people bring, the kind of value that you bring, and you cannot give value that you don't possess. So I think that is the biggest picture that he's trying to share with us. So we have to be careful of the things that we do, of the things that we are presenting, and how we are presenting them, because that is the value that people are going to place on your plate. So when we talk of value, we must always give the value that we are intentional on, and so that people can say, we followed and we got something out of it. Otherwise, we're just going to be following, and then people are going to be irritated. Some are going to be happy, but people who are looking for a certain value, they're going to feel, like they're being cheated. Thank you, Rev. You're back.
Indeed, I'm even winding up now. I've gone back to the other network. I don't know what's going on today. I think the towers. So anyway, like I was saying, so identify the audience. My friends, I can't even begin to explain how important that is. And lastly, understand the needs of your audience's challenges and interests, and ensure they align to what you bring. So in other words, let's go back to the audiences. So Chela Tukuta, what are Chela Tukuta's followers looking for? Entertainment. So my question, am I an entertainer? Is Sampa an entertainer? Is Dr. Sunshine here an entertainer? No, we're not entertainers. We are so not entertainers. So since we're not entertainers, that automatically answers the question. So you got to be very careful with then the interaction, because you're not really, you just attract people that don't see value in what you offer. And so you end up having all these people that really don't bring any substance. And what do I mean by don't bring any substance? Remember, the whole purpose, and we're winding now, the whole purpose for our being on these platforms is to address audiences. Why do we address audiences? Because at the back end of that, listen to me carefully, at the back end of that is a product offer. Never forget. That's why at the beginning of my presentation, nobody got it. I said, every relationship is transactional. Yep, I really need to pause on that. Every relationship is transactional, meaning there is something I am bringing into the relationship and there's something I'm drawing from the relationship. So it is a two-way bridge. I tell you, even little children, the reason little children love their parents is because they are their source of sustenance. The reason parents love the little children is because they are source of joy. Transaction. You see where I'm going? So if there's no transaction, let no one lie to you. It is virtually impossible to see a relationship continue. So husband, wife, same story. Brothers, sisters, same story. Colleagues in the marketplace, same story. It's the value. So meaning, if you're going to attract an audience and present a brand, then there must be something of value you're bringing. So those of us who are always on these platforms interacting, this is our marketplace. Okay? So in the marketplace, we bring value, and we have to identify an audience, address that audience, and what we call scratch their itch. And once we scratch their itch, they will be happy. There is a law, a spiritual law called the law of reciprocity. People will tend to want to return good for good. It's a natural thing. If you like someone because you are gaining from them, even if it's free, you will find a way to kind of give back. And that's why when you then make an offer, they'll go, oh, wow, I really like Sunshine stuff. I've been following. I think I'm going to go for the Mindset Change program. Why? Because they already interacted with Sunshine and gained value from her. And they already saw that this is a woman of substance. I am not going to be wasting money when I go there. I think there's much I'll gain, because even what she presents, I'm already gaining. Now, remember, to you, Sunshine, and the rest of us here, it looks like you're doing it for free, but no. There is an audience out there. They are receiving the message. They are hearing the message, and it is going somewhere. And when that message starts to impact and change their lives, let me tell you, the day you make an offer, they will come for it. Let me close with this very interesting point. It's on my birthday. In fact, it's the last time I'll do it. So from next year, I'm joining Sunshine, Dr. Nelly, on that principle of giving back on the birthday. But one of my friends, Coach Ted, gave me an idea. He didn't give it to me. He just spoke about it, and I said, that's a good idea. And then I tried it. He talked about, I prefer America, because in America, you can just put your number and say, it's my birthday, guys, bless me, whatever. I said, oh, let me try that. I did that. I can tell you right now, those of you listening and watching, that just that little experiment, I raised over 6,000 kwacha, which obviously I was able to use for a few things in my life. But I realized, oh my God, if asking for money can raise this amount of money, what about if we did a concerted, very powerful process where we have a committee, raise real money, and go make an impact on my birthday? So I'm joining Dr. Nelly and Dr. Sunshine because they already do that. And really, on my birthday, I will be now using this opportunity to raise money. Then we go and celebrate by, blessing some people out there. So I have some ideas I'll share later. So that's the power. Why were people able to bless me with all that money? Answer: because they feel that I have been of value. They feel I have offered so much, and what little can they do but send the 50 kwacha, send the 20 kwacha, and that's what they were sending, 10 kwacha, 50 kwacha, 100 kwacha, 200 kwacha. Just those little amounts, 6,000. So meaning over, 40 or 50 people sent money. And I still send it today. I just saw another money. Somebody sent money. And that doesn't include my dear sisters here who also blessed me. And Sylvia blessed me the other day. So you can imagine what that means. It means the value that I've brought out there is definitely reciprocated. So in closing, my dear brothers and sisters, our next topic next week is going to be looking on crafting your personal brand statement. So this is really going to be very helpful. But remember that your brand power is what creates the perception in the market, and the perception in the market is what determines how much you can make. So just get that part right, and you'll be a happy person. So for myself, thank you. Sorry for going a bit over, but we had those little breaks with the internet, and so I was just compensating. But looking forward to having you next week. Tomorrow, Dr. Sunshine is back with another, lesson in the Mindset Change program. Have a great day. God bless you guys.